long ago in the castle of a kingdom called Daventry.
Alexander, here you are. Oh, you're still not thinking about Cosima, are you?
I suppose I am.
Son, it's been months. You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
I know.
Have you discovered anything about the land of the Green Isles?
No. No one's even heard of it. It's like she's just vanished.
I wish I could help. Please try to think about something else, dear.
I'll try, Mother.
Alexander, I feel so alone. I don't know what to do. Alexander, I wish you were here. Alexander.
Cosima! Wait! Mother! Mother, come quick!
Alexander, what on earth? You're white as a ghost.
Mother, I saw Cosima. She was in the mirror.
In the mirror? The magic mirror?
Yes! And it showed me how to find her.
How?
The stars! I saw the stars outside her window. I can navigate by the stars.
Oh, Alexander, if you really go...
It will be all right, Mother. I promise.
Prince Alexander sailed the known seas and beyond. As the ship nears the shore, day turns to night and the sea turns violent. Alexander awakens to find himself on an unfamiliar beach. For a moment, he is too dazed to remember how he got here. Then he does remember. The shipwreck, the sea. Just as he had seen his men safely into the lifeboats, a gigantic wave picked him up and tossed him overboard into the churning sea. That was the last he'd seen of his crew. Debris from the shipwreck is scattered along the shore, but of the lifeboats and his men, there is thankfully no trace. He can only hope and pray that the lifeboats survived the currents, and that his men made their way safely back to Daventry. Alexander picks up his royal insignia ring from the beach. The sand is warm. Alexander pushes the plank to one side. A box has been partially buried under sand. Alexander takes the coin and leaves the ruined box where it is. Alexander politely addresses the odd-looking guards at the castle doors, hoping to learn more about his predicament.
Good day to you, guards. I was cast upon this island in a storm, and I'm a little confused about my location. Could you tell me what place this is and who lives in this castle?
Hey, what is that you say? A castaway? A likely story. We haven't had any foreigners in this part since Alhazred arrived.
Don't be so rude, Gruff. He's not asking for any secrets. You're standing on the Isle of the Crown, lad, and this is the Castle of the Crown. The royal family resides here. Rather, what's left of the royal family.
The Isle of the Crown? But tell me, am I anywhere near the land of the Green Isles?
This is the land of the Green Isles. The Isle of the Crown is the main island, foolish boy.
Then Princess Cassima must live in this very castle.
Aye, the princess is indeed our treasured jewel to guard, and we consider it an honor.
Alexander decides to show his royal insignia ring to the Castle of the Crown guards. With all of his papers lost in the shipwreck, it is the only possible calling card he can think of.
Good day. I'm Prince Alexander of Daventry. I'm an acquaintance of Princess Cassima. If you could just inform her that I'm here, please.
So everyone says. Let me just look at that ring.
What does it say, Gruff?
Kingdom of Daventry, Prince Alexander. Wait here while I go see what Captain Saladin thinks of this.
The guard returns a moment later with a majestic-looking creature. Captain Saladin speaks with a voice that is gentle, but reflects a will of iron.
Prince Alexander of Daventry, I presume. I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with your country, but I'm sure Wazir Alhazred will want to meet you, if indeed you are a friend of the princess. Please follow me. Lord Alhazred, a visitor to see you. Prince Alexander of Daventry.
What is it that you seek, Prince Alexander?
Pardon the intrusion, my lord, but I came to see Princess Cassima. Some months ago, my father, King Graham, saved my family and I from imprisonment under an evil wizard named Mordak.
The same wizard that kidnapped the princess?
Exactly. When my father rescued us, he also liberated Cassima and sent her home.
Then your father has my gratitude, and that of the entire kingdom. But I'm afraid I still fail to see the purpose of your visit.
Well, I came to make sure that Cassima arrived safely and to pay my respects. Before we parted, she gave me an invitation to visit.
I have no doubt she did exactly that at the time, Prince Alexander. However, things have greatly changed for Cassima since her ordeal in Mordak's castle. Cassima's parents both became ill and died while she was gone. Cassima is sequestered in mourning for them as befits a princess. She is not receiving visitors of any kind. Even if she were, I do not think your visit would be appropriate. You see, it is time for Cassima to take her responsibilities seriously. With her parents gone, she no longer has the luxury to be a carefree maiden. As was her parents' wish, Cassima and I are to be wed. We shall rule the kingdom together. I assure you, our marriage is all Cassima wants now. As a prince and a gentleman, it would be best that you leave before there is any further embarrassment.
I see. I suppose that I was mistaken. I thought for certain that Cassima... Well, I apologize.
A young man sees what he wishes to see. I'm sorry you've wasted your time traveling to the land of the Green Isles. May your journey home be swift.
Perhaps I will take the opportunity to look around your fair land while I'm here.
I would advise against that. The kingdom is rather, shall we say, inhospitable these days. But it is your neck. You may risk it if you please. Captain Saladin will escort you from the castle. Good day.
You have had your hearing with Vizier Alhazred. I trust you will respect his wishes and not return. I have been instructed not to let you into the castle again. Good day, my lord.
Captain Saladin whispers something to the guard dogs at the castle gate, and they nod with understanding. Alexander has a feeling they won't be letting him into the castle again.
Mikki päällä. Nyt on mikki päällä.
Old lamps for new! Old lamps for new!
Good day.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business. Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it is beyond me. But then, I am a shopkeeper, not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency. The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
I see you have noticed my mechanical nightingale.
That mechanical nightingale looks intriguing. I believe I'll take it.
Very well. Your coin...
I'll remember.
Hello. I will be right up. Now, what can I do for you?
Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you?
My name is Alexander. I know I am on the Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby.
You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown, because the royal family's castle is here. Besides the castle, we also have this village, and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands: the Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder.
At least 3? Does no one know for certain?
This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go. Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world.
That's quite a claim.
Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night.
Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them?
Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle.
Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice.
Ah, but advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more.
How much for that book on the counter, merchant?
It is a fine book, is it not? I obtained it from the estate of the one and only magician this kingdom has ever had. Poofed himself into an aardvark in the end, or so I heard. I never found the spells all that useful myself, but then I lead a boring life. I tell you what, if you can find another rare book, something a bit more marketable, I might be willing to exchange the spelled book for it.
Thinking of Cosima, Alexander decides to leaf through one of the volumes of love poetry. He reads, "Thy hair, thy lips, thy beauteous face, and all thy studied female grace have won for thee anon a place within this broken breast." Not bad. And another. "Upon the shore the lilies bend." Yikes. And another. "What was it when I looked at you? What power has chained me through and through? What nameless thing has captured me and made me powerless to flee? The name of love cannot apply. Its commonness does not decry."
A little close to home.
Alexander returns the love poem. Alexander picks up. It's the love poem he particularly liked. It must have fallen out of the
I see that old volume has lost another page. You may keep it if you like, sir. I have glued the stubborn thing back in place 2 times already.
I do rather like it.
Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh, yes, please, take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really?
Meneekö vähän liian nopeasti? Pannaanko yksi pykälä hittaamaksi? Nyt on ehkä vähän parempi.
Hey, stranger, come join me. The water is wonderful.
That boat is...
Come on, jump.
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
Yeah, what do you want?
Alexander promises himself that he will not go home until he has determined what... The boat does not... Alexander... Alexander...
I said
Alexander...
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside. What is it you wanted to talk about, young man?
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
It just ain't safe to sail these days. What with the islands feuding and all. Wazir Al-Hazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
But there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Cassima themselves. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between... I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly. Princess Cassima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen. But the Queen...
What do you do now that the ferry no longer...
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more
Boats don't last long on these shoals.
Tell me more about...
Ah, such a beautiful child. Her mother was the same. The king and queen. They served the islands, not the other... Ah, they are so...
What else can you tell me?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor.
What else can you...
The Isle of the Beast is...
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought you much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving the darn thing away will bring me good fortune at last.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you. Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks.
Posh, not at all. It breaks the boredom if...
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you might have a magic...
Why, as a matter of fact, I do. I keep it under the counter. It's been gathering dust so... It was quite a few years ago, you see. The estate of a wealthy wizard fell into my hands when he died. It was useless magical junk mostly, which reminds me, I've still got some things of his in the back that I need to dump out. Anyway, the magic map was the one true treasure in the lot. The wizard was quite old and feeble and had enchanted the map to aid in traveling. It is said that one need only desire to be on an island depicted on the map to find oneself there. It is a very valuable map, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, no one is interested in traveling these days. It is far too dangerous with the current state of the kingdom.
What would you take for the map?
I would normally want something magic in return, but since I am hardly overrun with prospective buyers, I would be willing to take anything of equal value in exchange.
If Alexander wants to exchange one of his possessions for an item in the pawn shop, he'll have to arrange it with the pawn shop owner first by showing him the object for trade.
Would you be willing to take my family ring in exchange for...
Daventry, are you a king then?
No, that's my father, King Graham.
Well, Prince Alex, she is a beautiful ring. Are you sure you can part with such a unique family heirloom?
The ring does mean a lot to me. I didn't always have a family, you know. Still, it is only gold. There are more important things at stake now.
Then you now own a magic map, Prince Alex. I will keep your ring out of sight for a few days. If you find anything else of great value in your travels, you can come back for your ring. I would hate to see it melted down for gold. Ah, and a warning about the map. It will only operate when you are out in the open and within sight of the sea. The limitation has something to do with the teleport spell ingredients. You might try the beach.
Thank you. You are very kind, and I'll remember about the map.
Suddenly, the old man in the concealing cloak sneaks past Alexander, and with a sneaky dart of his hand, steals a mint from the candy jar. The old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of the pawn shop.
Master! I followed Prince Alexander as you wished from the pawn shop owner. He just abstained, just reprieved. He just got a magic map. You fool! You've been eating those mints again. I ordered you to stop that. Yes, Master. Now, what is this about a magic map? With the map, Prince Alexander could travel anywhere as quickly as I can. I thought I took care of the only means of travel. By my scimitar, I can't have him stirring things up now. Get a hold of yourself and listen carefully, Shamir. Go to the other islands and tell them...
Alexander takes a mint.
Tallenna tarpeeksi usein.
Alexander winds the mechanical nightingale and places it on the ground. The mechanical nightingale sings a sweet, tinny tune. The real nightingale in the tree cocks her head and listens intently. The nightingale flies to a lower branch and looks at Alexander curiously, as if she were deciding that this human might not be so... Alexander sorts through the odds and ends that the paunch magic exploding gum wrappers, a shattered crystal ball, a cracked wand. Near the bottom, Alexander finds a little glass bottle labeled ink. It appears to be empty, but Alexander decides to take... Alexander reads the love... What the name... Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Slow.
Alexander feels a strain. Alexander wades into the sea to... The ocean currents tug at Alexander's legs. That object is just a bit... The ocean currents tug at Alexander's leg. A string of letters floats in the water. The letters spell out, "Where are you going?" Alexander's heard of alphabet soup, but this is ridiculous. The ocean. Alexander wades deep. Before the currents are as Alex.
Tickets up. Next.
Nothing like getting swept off your feet. Alexander. The ocean. The ocean is not as calm as it appears. The ocean is not as calm as... Alexander wades deeper into the sea to get the underwater before Alexander. The ocean is not as calm. The ocean. The ocean. Alexander wades deeper into the underwater tow is before Alexander. The currents are up. As
Vittu.
Tickets. Oh. Next.
Nothing like getting
Why aren't you asleep like the other oysters?
Oh, I'm so weary, but I can't sleep. I have a terrible ache.
What's wrong with your mouth?
No offense, but it hurt.
What's wrong? If you're having trouble sleeping,
Hey, that...
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of yields.
Alexander makes a grab.
Hey, you fixed...
Se hävisi se vittu juttu.
Alexander hears some.
I've discards of old control. Smell your smell.
Alexander holds the flower of stench out to the gnome with the jumbo nose.
Tom Trow I am, that's all I'll be. My nose knows all on land and sea. A flower of stench has washed ashore, a flower 'tis all. Listen. My ears can't miss that strong heartbeat. A man, a man.
The gnome.
Onko se lintu vielä? Otiks me sen vittu linnun? Tää käydä hakemassa, mä en ottaa sitä.
Tickets. Oh. Next.
Guess those gnomes couldn't reach a consensus. A string of letters floats in the water. The letters spell out the sentence floating in the water has nothing new to Alexander. The ocean current. Alexander wade the underwater before. The ocean. The sentence. The sentence. Alexander. The ocean currents tug at Alex. The ocean is Alexander. The ocean.
Why are... If you're two
Alexander's
yields
Alexander makes
Tarvitaan vitun jutun tuolta.
One of the oysters is sitting up in bed. In the oyster's mouth, a string of Alexander. The ocean current. The sentence. The blue ocean stretches on. The ocean is not. Using that on the sentence in the water. Alexander's voice gets lost in the rip. The sentence, a string of letters floats in the water. The letters spell out.
Why are...
Alexander. The ocean currents.
What's wrong with you? If you're two
Alexander makes it. Alexander. The ocean currents tug at Alexander. Alexander's.
Ei se tuu sieltä.
Alexander hears someone coming.
"5 fierce guards of the isle we be. Watch for a foreign man," said he, "with ears and nose, tongue, hands, and eyes. Its nature cannot be disguised. If man it be, then man it dies. Old Tom Troll, smell your smell. Do that which you do so well." Alert, my brothers, as we feared. A man, a man! A man!
Vittu.
Are you sure you want to clear? Alexander is standing on a rocky beach. To the north, the blue ocean. Alexander. The Alexander hears.
Five fierce guards of the isle we be. What? Old Tom.
Alexander.
Tom Trow I am, that's all I'll be. Listen, heart.
Alexander.
Menttyä Rapid Food.
A nose is not a way to spy. Taste Grump, that we might know whether friend or whether foe.
Alexander.
Grump knows a tasty treat. It matters not what others bleat. No danger. Trilly dilly.
Alexander holds.
Be all you mad? What aileth thee? A bunny can't trill merrily. A hare does not at all taste sweet. A rabbit here is all we. Old Bill Batter.
Alexander.
By all that's beauteous, fair, and sightly.
Alexander did it. Alexander picks up the object floating in the water. It appears to be a string of letters. They say, Alexander decides to keep the odd sound.
Why aren't you asleep like the other oysters?
Oh, I'm so weary, but I can't sleep. I have...
If you're happy...
Hey!
Alexander makes a...
Hey!
Ah, the little oyster drift...
What do you think you're doing?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize these books had an owner. I'm in need of a rare book.
No owner? All books have owners, my good man. And this book owner, Bookworm to you, wouldn't part with one of his books for anything.
Isn't there something I can do for you to pay for the book?
Let's see. Do you have an itinerant clause?
No. No clauses at all, I'm afraid.
As an exception, you always should.
Don't mind oxymoron and diphthong. They're fairly limited grammatical principles, you know. Let's see. A marsh pig that does Texas?
No. I'm afraid not.
A dangling participle?
I'm fresh out.
A purple fiddle whacker?
No, I don't think so. Sorry.
An idiosyncrasy, perhaps?
Afraid not.
Ha! Then...
The swampy... As the marshy water filled...
Niin.
Tickets up. Next.
Do you ever get that sinking feeling?
Checkmate! Only chess pieces allowed in chessboard land. That's right. Humans aren't allowed in and never will be. Stay out!
I must insist, Your Highness. I shall send the lump of coal to the Vizier and the Princess as a present for their wedding, and that's the end of it.
And I suppose you'll leave me with only this stupid spoiled egg to send, Your Highness. I want to impress the new king and queen of the realm as much as you do. As queen of this island, I have every right to that lump of coal.
Who isn't queen of this isle? The lump of coal is in my possession. Therefore, I shall do as I please with it. Besides, there's nothing wrong with that spoiled egg.
The egg, though delightfully spoiled, is not nearly so valuable as the lump of coal, and you know it. Your Highness always got to carry the singing stone. It's not fair that you get the coal, too.
That doesn't count. The singing stone was stolen by that horrid beast. I should get to keep the coal just because my stone was stolen.
It wasn't your stone. It belonged to the Isle of Wonder treasury. Your Highness always thinks that everything is hers.
Excuse me, my good man, but could you settle an argument for us?
Which of us should get to carry the coal and which the egg? Remember, white is the color of deserving truth and virtue.
Quiet, Your Highness, and let him make up his own mind.
Vittu toki on noin paljon.
And not even mention the fact that red is the color of love.
I'm sorry, Your Majesties. I'm partial to both red and white, but I'm afraid that I don't know how to solve your problem. One of you will just have to be gracious and allow the other the lump of coal.
What a ridiculously stupid idea.
Quite ludicrous.
He was a lot of help, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Obviously a man of high intelligence. The lump of coal goes much better with my gown anyway. Black and red are imperial colors.
That's the silliest thing I ever heard. Red does not go with anything being
Alexander picks up. Alexander approaches the snapdragons. Those unfriendly snapdragons don't want Alex. lettuce growing. Alexander picks a head of iceberg.
Ye gads! Is that cold?
Alexander is carrying. The flawless pearl is the Alexander is carrying a full head of a queer. The lettuce is rapidly melting. Alexander pulled.
Isle biisti.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Hello, friend. Aren't you an odd-looking little fellow?
I'm not odd-looking, you are.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Speak not. Funny is, speech I am and nothing but.
Joda. Mikä sille piti nyt antaa?
The mechanical knight. Alexander is carrying a full head of a queer-looking lettuce made of ice. The lettuce. Alexander is carrying, oddly enough, a sentence. Alexander holds the sentence out.
This sentence seems in need of an ending. Perhaps you...
Where are you going? Where are you going? Know what I do? Where are you going to? Like you, I do. Go I with you?
Well, that... A pond lies across the path. Hoping to cool down the pond's water slowly stops boiling, cooled by the... Alexander...
Ouch! Ouch!
The pond is no longer boiling, but it's... Alexander takes the old hunter's lamp.
Tallenna tarpeeksi usein.
As Alexander continues down the path, he gets the strange feeling that he's being watched.
Come on over here and see what I'm doing with these flowers.
Alexander picks up the brick.
You aren't gonna listen to me, are you? Well...
That's odd. The gardener just disappeared. Alexander... Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Hello, bookworm? I have...
Well, what is it this time?
I found this little fellow lost on another island.
Coming home I am too.
There you are, you naughty boy. I told you not to leave the island.
Glad I am seeing you too.
A mouse?
So, you found my dangling participle, I suppose?
Yes, sir.
Well, then none of these will do. They've been sitting in the sun far too long. This one is far more...
Alexander is carrying a... Alexander opens the rare book and... The book contains riddles and has a page missing. Alexander glances at a few of the conundrums. What was the riddle, he wonders? More important...
Wow. Hiya, gorgeous. What a luscious-looking hunk of flesh you are.
Thank you.
How charming of you to pretend not to know. I'm Black Widow, of course. You know, I was just thinking it was time I found my 50th, another husband. It would be quite a horror. Just look at my beautiful weaving. It's so light.
It is a lovely web.
Oh, drat! That scrap of paper blew into my web from the... Hey, don't...
Alexander snatches the scrap of parchment, curious to see what's written on it. The wind blows the scrap of paper from Alexander's hand, but he remembers what it said well enough. Alexander Alexander feels a...
Your candy dish is empty.
I am sorry, sir, but I have no more.
Well, get some more then.
I fear that is impossible. Without the ferry, I can no longer get imports from the other islands.
Oh, I hate...
The mechanical knight... The mechanical...
Would you mind if I
Of course, Prince Alex. Please, choose...
Alexander...
I'll take the flute.
The flute? Very good, Prince Alex. May its music always...
Thank you. I found this large pearl.
I have never seen such a perfect pearl.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't sell it.
Of course.
Hello, I will be... Now, what can I do for you?
I found this rare book.
Very interesting. Oh, it is a wonderful riddle book. Riddles are much more marketable. Here is the spell book you wanted, and a fair trade it is, I must say.
I certainly hope so. We shall see how rusty my spell-casting truth...
Alexander carefully reads the instructions for a spell entitled Magic Paint Spell. Speaking the incantation would... Alexander carefully reads the instructions for a spell entitled Magic Paint Spell. This is the first page.
Good day, sir. Is there anything you can tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I'm sorry, but I have no time for idle conversation.
Sehän vittu kuuntele minua.
Determined to learn more about the strange man's relationship with the princess, Alexander shows the man his insignia ring.
I'm sorry to insist, but my name is Alexander of Daventry, and...
I appreciate the offer of the ring, Alexander, but I'm afraid I've already spoken. Daventry? Where have I heard of Daventry? Flying flint mice. You must be Prince Alexander. Cosima told me about you when she arrived home. How came you here?
Why, by a ship now wrecked upon the sand. But you know Cosima? She truly spoke of me?
Yes, I saw her briefly when she first returned home. She mentioned a prince to me, Prince Alexander of Daventry. I'm afraid that was before she was told about her parents' deaths. You see, she arrived home a few weeks too late. The king and queen thought they'd never see her again. It is said they died of heartbreak. I'm afraid she's blamed herself.
What a terrible homecoming. If we had only known.
Terrible indeed, poor thing. Everyone in the kingdom seems to despair with her these days. The streets are silent.
Where is she now?
The princess is sequestered in mourning. It's a rather dated tradition, and not required, but the Wazir says she insisted out of respect.
I see. You've yet to say who you are, and how you know the princess.
I? Oh, pardon me. My name is Charlo. I am clown to the royal court, and had been since the marriage of Cosima's parents, King Caliphim and Queen Alaria. Oh, those were the happy days. The pair of them were so full of joy and life, so in love. And Cosima's birth. It would be hard to explain how long they had waited, how they had hoped for a child. I mean, she was such a charming little thing, smart as a whip, kind and sweet. Oh, she means everything to this kingdom, Alexander, and to me. I'm so terribly worried about her.
About her grief over her parents, you mean?
Well, the truth is, I do not trust the Wazir or his plans for Cosima. I'm still living at the Castle of the Crown as court clown, his clown. But it is more to keep my ear to the ground than out of loyalty. I wish I knew what the princess thinks these days. If only I could find Sing Sing, Cosima's pet nightingale. I might be able to send the princess a message. As it is, I must wait for the end of her seclusion.
What can you tell me about the Wazir?
The Wazir? Now there's a dangerous subject. His name is Abdul Al-Hazred. He came to the kingdom 15 years ago. The king was fascinated by his knowledge and his fine-sounding ideas. It didn't take long for Al-Hazred to convince the king to trust him with the minor problems of daily government. You see, Caliphim had a wife and a new daughter he wanted to spend time with. Al-Hazred became Wazir.
And now?
Well, he's had his eye on Cosima ever since she was a young girl. And she is the only thing between him and the throne.
Do you think he means to harm her?
Oh, I honestly don't know. I think he'd rather keep her as wife. But whatever his plans for the princess, he will use her to his best advantage. That's his way.
Perhaps he has charmed her. Perhaps she cares for him now.
The Wazir is capable of anything, and Cassima must be vulnerable and lonely right now. Still, she has always instinctively distrusted him. Cassima has a good head on her shoulders. I'd be surprised if she's truly fallen for his words of love. Now I must return to the castle. Look, I don't want to arouse suspicion. I'll try to meet you here again later.
Thank you for the information, Zhao. Be very careful.
Alexander feels a strange... Alexander takes a bottle of milk from the milkweed bush. Apparently, the dogwood tree doesn't like Alexander standing that close. Alexander gives one of the baby's tears a bottle of milk. The other baby's tears seem to resent Alexander's gift for some reason. Alexander collects some of the baby's tears in the old hunter's lamp. There appears to be a hole in the garden wall. Through the hole in the wall, Alexander sees a land that resembles a giant chessboard. It really is a hole in the wall. Zounds, those wallflowers sure are shy, and the snapdragons are awfully protective of them. Alexander can't even get close to the wallflowers without causing quite...
May I have this dance?
Oh, my!
Alexander... While the wallflower... Alexander... those tomatoes are not quite ripe.
Hey, what do you think you're doing there? Get...
Alexander picks up Rotten Tomato and puts him away. One never knows when one will need a rotten tomato.
Tallennet taas välillä. Ok. Missä on mun teekuppi?
The teacup feels that part of the
What do you think you're doing? You startled me. I was just getting some swamp ooze.
Well, you certainly won't get it there! That's not swamp ooze! That's swamp slime!
He's right, you know. But he could be a little nicer about telling you.
Nobody asked you!
Perhaps I can help you out by throwing a rotten tomato at Stick in the Mud for you.
Really? I appreciate the gesture, but the swamp is broader than it looks.
I thought this might come in handy the next time your brother starts picking on you.
Aha! Finally, old...
Hey! Hey! What are you doing there?
Now, Bumpy! The only thing you've ever given me is mud.
No!
Hey, okay, I give up.
Well, I guess it's not very pleasant having things thrown at you. I'm sorry.
You mean it?
Stick in the Mud and Bump on a Log, exhausted from the battle, immediately doze off into... Small speckles of sand stand out against the otherwise... Alex... The scarf. The little the teacup. That part of Alexander already knows. That part of the swamp is out of Alexander. That part. Alexander fills the teacup with the swamp ooze. Alexander pulls out his magic map.
Is of Secret Mountain.
Alexander feels a...
Seivataan tarpeeksi usein.
There appears to be some... huge blocks of stone. Alexander stares with wonder. That's quite a way to welcome a guest, if indeed it is a welcome. The step... Alexander can...
Oikeesti. Et sen vittu itse osaa perkele kiivetä sinne. Ei osaa, saatana.
Alexander examines the strange etchings in the face of the cliff. Nothing happened. Alexander... The stone beneath Alexander's feet trembles as more steps emerge from the ground. Alexander examines this. Alexander gets the feeling that was the wrong button.
Oops!
Tickets. Oh. Next.
What a riddle. Alexander...
Kolmonen.
Alexander examines... Alexander gets the feeling that was the wrong... Alexander... The stone beneath Alexander's feet trembles as...
Se veti ihan randomilla.
Alexander... Alexander examines... Alexander... The cliffs cannot be... Nothing happened. Alexander... Nothing happened. Alexander
Toi on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vai toi? Toi? Kuusi. Toinen pohjalta.
The stone beneath...
Noniin. Huhhuh.
Alexander examined. The stone beneath. Alexander finds himself, finally, at the top of the cliffs. Exhausted, he steps over the lip of the plateau and stands.
Why do you make... You could have... See?
It would be rather rude to crawl into that cave with the old woman. There's no reason.
Comes!
It would be rather rude to crawl. Small speckles of sand stand out against the otherwise gray. Alexander is carrying the lamp contains baby's tears. The brick. There's no reason to use that in the
Tinderbox.
scarf.
Young man, you will...
It would be rather grabbing at the old lip. How odd. The old woman. There's no one. Alexander crawls through the... Alexander finds himself. Why would... Alexander rubs the lamp. Alexander.
Vittu.
Oops.
Alexander.
You... See? The sweet...
Alexander remembers what...
Moi.
Alexander sees nothing of interest.
Come!
There's no...
All right!
How odd.
Look, and in... Ho! That...
Joo, löysin. Juu.
With what trickery did you master the cliffs of logic and reach the city of the Winged Ones?
Only the magic of...
Yes, we have...
The minute... I will not...
As...
I understand.
Perkele näitä vitun pelejä. Ei oo jäänyt enää paljosta kiinni.
Alexander pulls... Alexander feels a...
Hyvä.
Good day.
Would you...
Of course,
Alexander...
Have you an interest in...
I believe I'll...
Very...
Thank you.
Alexander...
So, you have...
And you... We shall...
We all...
What? See?
There's no...
All right.
How...
Oh, yes. Yes.
Alexander climbed...
Oh, vittu.
Alexander... Alexander... Alexander...
Would you mind?
Of course.
Alexander.
I believe I...
Very...
Alexander. Alexander. Alexander arrives at the...
Noin, nyt vittu meni paremmin.
Alexander crawls through the small opening in the rock. Alexander finds himself in a dark...
Oi.
There's no point in you. It feels exactly... Alexander takes the candle. Dead end. Dead end. Alexander crawls. The lighting in this part of the cave is better. Alexander extinguishes the candle's flame and Alexander takes a few leaves from the plant. As he does so, a strong smell of peppermint. The window in the rock. A natural... Alexander crawls back. Alexander can't see a thing. Alexander... Alexander crawls back through the passage.
Look, an intruder! Hold! How did you get up here, human?
I climbed the cliffs.
That is not possible. No one has solved the cliffs of logic in several centuries. And if the cliffs were to be solved, it would certainly not be by a human.
I didn't mean to trespass. I only wanted to visit this beautiful island.
No visitors have been welcome on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain in years. Not since the Red and White Queens had spies in the guise of friendly visitors steal our island's sacred golden fleece. But we will not display such foolish trust again. You will have to answer to Lord Azure and Lady Ariel. They will determine what will be done with you. I can assure you, it will not be pleasant.
With what trickery did you master the cliffs of logic and reach the city of the Winged Ones?
Only the magic of clear thought, my lord. I meant no harm.
The cliffs of logic. It is the sacred oracle's prophecy, Azure.
Yes, Ariel. It is lucky for you, human, that climbing the cliffs of logic is part of a prophecy that I cannot ignore. We have just been ordered by Wazir Al-Hazred himself to dispose of any strangers that might land on our fair isle. But the prophecy would have a different fate befall you.
The prophecy predicts that whosoever climbs the cliffs of logic will defeat the Minotaur. The Minotaur has violated our sacred catacombs and eats our young in sacrifice. Our own daughter, Lady Celeste, was taken there only this morning as his most recently demanded offering.
A dilemma, then. Whom shall I obey in regards to your fate? The Oracle or the Crown? But since Al-Hazred did not dictate how I was to dispose of intruders, and since you cannot possibly survive the catacombs, your imprisonment there should serve both purposes quite admirably.
I will not resist you in this, my lord. I shall do my best to save your daughter.
First, I must tell you that the catacombs are a labyrinth of rooms, a place of exceeding danger. You will need many tools and clear wits to survive it.
I am ready.
Very well. My guards will take you there now. You seem courageous enough, but the catacombs will determine how brave you really are.
Why did you tell Lord Azure you were ready and willing to face the catacombs? No one is ever ready, and only a fool could be willing.
And you are far wiser, I suppose, to leave a maiden to die? To not fight this plague on your own people?
Bravery and suicide are two different things, human. You will have a chance to renounce your choice soon enough, when you lay trembling under the Minotaur's hooves.
We shall see. Thanks for the escort.
We only escort you to your death. May the fates make it quick so that you do not have to scream long.
Tärkeästi ne jätkät vaan heitti se sinne.
The catacomb's entrance door is locked from the outside by the Winged One's guards. It seems that leaving the catacombs by that door is not an option.
Sillä lailla tallennettaa tarpeeksi usein tuohon. Vittu kun mä säikähtää, paska pitää aloittaa alusta taas.
Alexander picks up the Alexander doesn't Alexander feels the tile he's standing.
Uh-oh!
Easy as cake.
Alexander takes the shield from the wall. It's a trap. The doors have sealed Alexander inside. And the ceiling is coming down. Alexander's hands would be crushed to pieces in those gears. He can't stop them with his bare hands. Alexander... Alexander finds 2 coins on the skeleton's eyes. He takes...
It's a trap!
It's a trap. The door and the ceiling is coming down. In a desperate move, the brick is caught between 2 cogs. The mechanism grinds to a halt. The ceiling is stuck. The trap is sprung.
Sounds! A trap floor!
Alexander seems to have fallen to a lower... Wherever he is, the place sure is dark. Alexander takes the candle from his tinderbox and uses the flint in the box to light it.
Aha! So that's...
Alexander lights the extinguished torch and puts his tinderbox away. hears the sound of a wild beast again. This time, so loud that the creature itself seems to be in the same... The noises are coming from the other side of the... Alexander puts the hole in the wall. The hole in the wall trembles slightly with dread at the clammy feeling of the stones. Alexander peers through the hole in just another room in the catacomb. Aha! Not just another room at all. So that's why Alexander couldn't find the Minotaur's lair. At least Alexander now knows the lair exists, somewhere in the maze on the other side of this wall. While Alexander contemplates what he's just seen, the hole in the wall, Alexander hopes the little creature finds its way home.
This tap... Now, let's see. I don't feel anything. Aha! A hidden latch.
Alexander triggers the...
Your struggles are useless.
It's the Minotaur, and he's struggling with a Winged One's girl. She must... There's no reason. Alexander steps forward.
You there, human!
I ask you to release your captive or suffer the...
As the Minotaur advances in it. Until he can back...
Now, where?
Alexander, his back inches from the...
Look here, you bully!
Now you die!
The Minotaur drops from sight amidst the consuming flames. Slowly, his scream fades as well.
Have you been harmed, Lady Celeste? Are you all right?
No, I am not all right. I assume you do not intend to leave me tied up on this vile monstrosity.
Of course not. Sorry, let's see. If you'll give me a moment, I'll have these untied in no time.
I can't wait that long. Look, I wear a small dagger just inside my belt. It should be enough to cut the rope.
Oh, all right. I've got it, Lady Celeste. Here we go.
Thank you. You may keep the dagger as a gift for saving my life.
That's very generous.
Forget it. Do you mind if we just get out of here now?
The Winged One's guards, bored with the pointless waiting, are startled by the sound of rock moving against rock.
Lady Celeste, Bide thee well.
I'm quite well, thanks to the bravery of a mere human. So much for your superior intellect.
Yes, milady.
Now bring him along. I'm going home.
I see you have proven yourself the hero of the prophecy. Well, I am expected to thank you for saving my daughter's life, so I thank you. I am obliged to thank you for the restoration of our sacred catacombs. It means much to our people. We have already begun the process of clearing the deadly traps from its rooms. It is also my duty to grant you a visit with the Oracle, so this I do. I will grant you the freedom to leave here unharmed, despite my orders to the contrary from the Crown. But there, my obligations to you end. I have no love for Alhazred, but he is my liege, and if Princess Cassima trusts him and wishes to wed him, my guards will take you to the Oracle now. When your time with her is through, I want you to leave the City of the Winged Ones and never return. I don't know who you are or what you want here, but I will not disobey my crown further.
I thank you, Lord Azure. I will respect your wishes.
Hail to thee, great oracle. Lord Azure sends you this wingless mail. It appears that he solved the cliffs of logic and...
defeated the Minotaur in his lair. So I have seen. So this is the one that haunts my pool of late. Welcome, young seeker. What knowledge do you desire?
Princess Cassima, whatever you can tell me, great oracle.
Ah, of course, the princess. That explains my images. Let us see what we can see. I see a maiden, lovely and pure, but surrounded by evil. She is a rose set amidst bitter thorns. It is her fate to be the pawn of dark powers, and yours to try to redeem her.
How? How do I redeem her?
Fate is not like the cut of a blade, young one, but rather like the myriad of paths formed when a hammer cracks ice. I will tell you what I can, but what will actually come to pass is up to you. I see that any attempt to reach the girl will force you into battle, a struggle against a dark force. If you lose, your life will be forfeit.
Who must I fight?
A great darkness surrounds your adversary, preventing me from seeing clearly. I can only make out the shape of a black cloak. But before this final struggle, I see an infiltration, a dangerous game of hide-and-seek in corridors filled with enemies. The risks are high, but it is the only way to reach the one you seek. There is more than one way into this place. Your choice will dictate much.
What else do you see, mighty oracle?
Oh, such pain. I see two restless spirits crying out for revenge. These shades could help you destroy the dark force if they were to be brought back from their spiritual form. Yet this is only one possible path to your destiny. I'm afraid this is getting beyond me. I know very little about the afterlife. I can only advise getting counsel from the druids. Be warned. The druids are reclusive and dangerous. They might aid you, or they might destroy you. Like their island, the
druid's nature is hidden in the mists. There is nothing more I can do for you, except to give you this. It is water from the sacred pool. That and my blessing go with you.
Thank you, great oracle.
Alexander feels a strange from the Alexander reaches into the from the east come the sounds of mysterious Alexander. There's nothing. The doors to the tree houses are bolted, and Alexander From the northeast come the sound. Alexander Alexander picks up the little bottle contains some sort of potion.
Your Highness.
No, it's...
Yes.
If the coal is sent in your name...
You do.
You...
Oh.
Oh, it's you! Have you...
I found the two of you another lump of coal so that you can stop fighting over the one you have.
Oh, let me see. A lump of coal. Now we can stop fighting, sister. Your Highness can just keep the old lump of coal.
Quite right. That settles
As a token of our endless esteem and royal favor, please accept this
Thanks.
Let me see that lump of coal, Your Highness.
It is a beauty.
Why, it's bigger than my lump of...
Over my dead body, Your...
I demand...
Alexander Nothing happens. Apparently, Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Ouch, 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 ouch.
Alexander. The magic arrow completely shatters the shield. Good thing the arrow didn't hit Alexander. Alexander takes a magnificent white rose from the rose hedges. Alexander walks forward to but the rose hedges on either side of the path, sensing an intruder's presence, reach out their vines and blend together. The path is blocked. Alexander wields the sun. The leaves fly as Alexander tries to cut the branches faster than they can grow back together. He sees light. He's through.
Who dares? And my name is Alexander. I didn't mean to disturb your private garden.
No. And yet, monsieur, you could hardly have accidentally broken through the 3 enchanted traps of the Isle of the Beast.
I suppose it is simply my nature to break through enchanted traps.
You must be a prince, then. I know the nature of princes all too well. This face you see before you is hideous, is it not?
Well, for the face of a beast, it is really quite noble.
Ha! I'm glad you like it, for you will soon own one just like it. I too was once a pretty prince, caring for nothing but adventuring and rescuing fair maidens. But I rankled one too many evil hags. One dark night, I was turned into this obscenity you see before you, warped in shape and trapped on this enchanted island over 100 years ago.
Surely there is a way
Oletko lukenut ottaa ohjeita?
Oh,
Hyvä, hyvä.
surely. You
Mitä sinne otti, jos Kääri menee?
And yet think, where would I go clad so eloquently as I am with this silk and this pelt? You see, my prison is also my sanctuary. You are the first to break through the barriers in lo these many years.
Monta lättyä meillä on?
Except for the druid
Siitä saisi
who
vittu
stole my
yhden
heirloom
ison
coat of
molemmin.
arms.
If there's any way I can help.
Mä oon lukenut meinaa semmosia ohjeita, missä yhdistellään ne lättyt ja käännetään yhdessä.
The enchanted barriers
Se on vaan idea
were a warning
voidaan
and
tehdä tietty
protection for
3
you
pientäkin
more
siinä.
than for me. Your prize for forcing your way past
Joo.
them is to join me in this dire life.
Kaikki käy ihan niin
By
mitä
the laws
sovit.
of this sorcery, you are doomed to be trapped in the form of a beast. Your reward for broaching this garden is to be my slave. A slave as beastly as I am. You have only a few hours of humanity left.
But that's not possible. There must be some way to break the enchantment. Spells always have a weakness somewhere.
The enchantment you are under is tied to my own. Oh, the sorceress left me a way out. But I'm afraid it was only her final bitter joke. You see, I need only find a maiden to join me here, to share my castle, my life, willingly. Take another look at me. You can't help but admire the hag's terrible cruelty and cunning.
I shall try to find such a maid, for Casima's sake.
Truly? How determined of you. I personally would not waste my last few hours as a man on an impossible errand. However, you may do as you please. I give you this token. It's my family ring, and the only heirloom I have left. If perchance you should... if you think you have found a maid...
I shall give her this ring.
Yes, she must accept it of her own free will. By doing so, she accepts me. Not that you shall find anyone, mind you. Your time is short.
Count the minutes on your fingers while your fingers you have, pretty prince. Your master will await you.
Alexander feels a strong...
Jalo, my friend, is the wedding still moving forward at the castle?
Prince Alex, egads, yes, that confounded wedding has a whole castle a-bustle. Look, I didn't come here to talk about that, though. I came to warn you.
Warn me? About what? Isn't the wedding bad enough?
No, listen. The Wazir knows that you're here, Alexander. He's posted extra guards, and he's telling them about a foreign saboteur. Who else could he mean but you? The Wazir's genie must have learned of your presence in the land, Prince Alex. I don't know how, but he must have.
I haven't exactly been discreet, I'm afraid.
Alexander, this is serious. Alhazred will never let you get close to Cassima now. He stumbled the castle guard, probably to make sure you keep out. Gadzooks! Oh, it's too bad there isn't some way to convince Alhazred that you've left the islands or even died. If he thought you were out of the way, you might be able to get close enough to...
What an interesting thought. Tell me more about this genie.
The genie's name is Shamir Shemazel. Alhazred brought Shamir with him when he came to this kingdom. Shamir probably won't directly threaten you, but that doesn't mean he isn't dangerous. He can be a terrible trickster and an ingenious spy. It's too bad we can't get our hands on Shamir's lamp. If we had that lamp, Alhazred and all of our problems would be solved. Wouldn't that be a fine thing?
You would wish to be master of such a wicked creature?
Oh, Shamir isn't necessarily evil. Genies never are, you know. They only reflect their owner's heart, for good or ill. Alhazred is hardly a shining example for an impressionable genie.
So how do you propose we go about getting Shamir's lamp?
What? Oh, Prince Alex, I was only dreaming. I mean, the lamp is heavily guarded. It would be easier to steal Alhazred's own trousers while he's wearing them than it would be to get that lamp.
But surely a clown's hands are quick and agile.
Well, yes, they are, as a matter of fact. But then the theft would be detected almost immediately. And then... my poor neck.
If the theft were detected.
Oh, I see. Yes, well, there might be a slim chance. But only that. If you could find a replica of the genie's lamp, an exact replica, I might be able to make the swap. I alone might get close enough. But I couldn't tell you what to look for. I caught a glimpse of it only once. I would know it if I saw it again, but to say I cannot.
Well, I'll just have to see what I can do.
Good luck to you then, Prince Alex. I really must be going back to the castle. I don't think I'll be able to come back here. If we were spied on, well, it's too high a risk. I hope you understand. If I see Cassima, I'll tell her I saw you. If you do ever make it to the castle, look me up. And do be careful, friend.
I will. Goodbye, Jalo. Thanks for all your help. Pardon me, maid. I hope you don't think me forward, but I see that you like roses. I thought you might, perhaps, like a fresh white rose.
Alexander can see the conflict in the girl's pretty face as she fights between her distrust of him and her desire for the white rose. The rose wins.
Oh, I shouldn't, sir, but it is so lovely. I've never seen a rose of white. It looks so pale and delicate. Wherever did you find one of such a color?
There are many hedges of them on the Isle of the Beast, and they grow together like magic.
Oh, truly? What an adventure that must be to see them. But I should not speak so, especially to a stranger. Thank you for the rose, though, kind sir.
Do you live in this house, maid?
Well, my stepmother and her children live here. I live out back in the stables.
Your stepmother? Then you're not a, well, I thought you were,
A servant? I am, I suppose. You see, my mother died and my father remarried. He passed on shortly afterwards. My stepmother has no obligation to feed and clothe me. I only try to repay her for my upkeep as best I can.
I see. Is there anything I can do for you, maid? You look tired and hungry.
I'm just fine, sir.
Tell me, why do you...
Where could I go? What would I do? I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
Alexander has a thought about the serving girl. He decides to bring up this...
Let me tell you about the place where the white roses grow. The Isle of the Beast is an enchanted place. There's a path running through a deep forest. The path crosses 3 magic blockades set...
Really? Magic blockades? How exciting!
It is a beast that walks on 2 legs and dresses like a prince. It speaks with the voice...
A beast that talks and wears clothes?
Not magical. Enchanted. Beast was once a prince.
How terrible. Imagine how...
It is a very lonely prospect, isn't it? I have met him, you see. He is...
He really exists? Oh, how it breaks my heart.
Oh. I think it's...
Afraid? Maybe at first.
I could take you there. In fact...
You are serious? I could leave here? Oh...
Home is a hard place to leave, even if you're unhappy there. Is there nothing you wish to take with you? Then take this ring. It is his.
Why, it's the most beautiful thing I've... Beauty! Where do you think you're... To a place where roses grow.
I see you wear my ring. You willingly agreed to spend your life here with me?
Yes, my lord, I do. I have been touched by your story.
Pity alone need not sentence you to endure.
Oh, but it is a gentle face.
You look at me so sweetly and are not repulsed. Oh.
The enchantment! It is broke!
I am pleased to have served you, my lord.
What? Speak not such nonsense, Beauty. Do you think that I learned nothing of true love during my...
Oh, my clothes!
How well it suits your noble...
Alexander, how can I ever repay you? I have nothing to offer except my gratitude. But please, take these old clothes. Perhaps you'll find someone in need during your travels.
You have already repaid me by your...
You will always have our... And to aid you.
Thank you.
Come, Beauty. Let...
Tarviks apua siellä?
The small vial contains the... Alexander pours the contents of the oracle's vial into the hunter's lamp with the baby's tears. The vial, now empty of its sacred fluid, disintegrates. Beauty's old clothes are very ragged and heavy. They can see a long strand of Beauty's blonde hair is... Alexander searches through Beauty's clothes. Alexander fills the hunter's lamp to the brim with the fountain water. Alexander opens the bargain.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of...
Phew, what an incredibly boring... Alexander prepares to enchant...
Clouds of thunder, shafts of light. Come and sup with me tonight.
The lamp in Alexander's hand gives a little perk. He hopes the spell works despite his makeshift teapot. Alexander takes a Alexander Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Ei ole ällöttävää. Ihan fiksua saatana, kun säästyy vettä ja tiskiä ja kaikkea.
There's no reason to use... Alexander holds out his insignia ring to the Nightingale, hoping she perhaps is the Nightingale. The Nightingale... She flies off towards the castle, perhaps to Cosima?
Sing Sing, what have you got in your... A gold ring? Sing Sing, where did you get this? Sing Sing, I wish you could tell me what you've seen. Is he really here then? Take this ribbon, Sing Sing. Please be careful, Alexander.
The little bird. It's a red velvet hair ribbon. Could it...
Or am I merely wishing?
Alexander has a love... Alexander... What was it? What... Alexander... Alexander... There's no reason to... Alexander... The nightingale swoops down, grabs the love poem, and takes it towards the castle.
Sing, sing, my sweet. It is a poem, sing.
What was it when I looked at you? What power has chained me through and through?
Oh, I was hoping he'd return to you. Take this to him.
The little bird makes to take the Alexander. The nightingale. It's a note.
Dearest Alexander, I cannot believe you are here, my friend. Please, please be careful. Abdul isn't about to let anyone interfere with his plans. Watch out for Abdul's genie, Alexander, and do not do anything rash. I am not without resource.
Alexander's hand trembles as he reads the note. For the first time, no words of love, only friendly concern. Friend is the maiden. Alexander. The nightingale takes the rose and...
A white rose, how beautiful. It must be from Alexander. How I wish that I could see him with my... He only risks capture by sending me these things. Dear to my heart though they are. Fly elsewhere, my pretty friend. Do not forgive me, Alexander. And forget me. I cannot return your love, for fear that I shall never leave this castle.
Alexander waits in vain for Casima's nightingale to return.
Good day, Prince Alexander.
Alexander suddenly gets...
I can't go on anymore. Without Casima, I'd just rather not live.
Prince Alex, no!
It's true. The Wazir has beaten me. I give up. Poison is my last resort.
Stop.
I am no more.
Oh, what a waste. The poor young fool.
He's dead. He's dead. Wait until Abdul hears. He'll be so pleased. I told you not to pop in like that. You can learn to knock like everybody else. Sorry, Master. I couldn't help myself. I have great news. Well, what is it? Prince Alexander is dead. He killed himself in despair over losing Casima. What? Are you positive? That young man has proven to be most devious. I saw the whole thing myself, Master. He was really and truly quite dead.
If what you say is true, it shall be most convenient. You've spent enough time on that little irritant. We must start thinking about the wedding. Anything, Master? Oh, I do love weddings. Well, we do want you to look your prettiest, don't we? Now, Shamir Shamazel, to the lamp with you. Prepare yourself, as we discussed.
Alexander's heart lurches to life in his chest.
Prince Alex! But you were... Ah, of course, the strange cloaked man. You...
Would you mind?
Of course,
Alexander.
I think I'd like the painter's brush.
Very good.
Thank you.
Alexander pulls out his... Alexander feels a...
Great gods, did you see that? The man just appeared from nowhere.
Perhaps he was sent by the spirits. I see no boat.
He is an intruder, no matter how he got here.
Not again. Look, I'll leave. It's no problem.
I think not. Let's go.
Alexander is frozen at the spectacle before him. Robed figures are gathered around
We found a trespasser on the beach, Archdruid.
Uh-oh. Archdruid. Now what is Alexander...
This must be the foreigner we were warned about. How appropriate that he should come during our rain festival. Place him in the sacrifice...
Wait! I must rest...
There's an ancient druid saying, a man who would save others.
Alexander is pushed into the... and the cage is swung out. Alexander starts to feel the bottom of the cage is getting uncomfortably hot. This cage is fire in the cage. Alexander pulls out Beauty's old slave clothes. The flame is extinguished, but the clothes themselves burn to cinders. Alexander won't be... The heat and movement must have jarred something that Alexander's carrying is starting to jiggle around. Egad, something's really percolating.
Laita vaan, ne on purittoja niin.
The water in Alexander's lamp is hot. It's just about boiling.
Joo.
Alexander feels a drop.
Man is a powerful nature wizard. By the sacred oak, let him down! I must apologize for our rude welcoming committee. We've been feeling inhospitable ever since the winged ones stole our sacred miniature oak tree. Besides, Wizir Al-Hazred sent a message that we were to watch out for a highly dangerous foreign assassin. I assume you are the one he meant.
I'm sure I'm precisely who he meant. I assure you, I mean to harm no one, unless that person threatens the princess. I'm sorry to have disrupted your ceremony.
What is it that you seek?
The oracle on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain told me I should speak to you about the realm of the dead. She told me of 2 souls in unrest there that I might be able to free.
Free souls in the realm of the dead? You're mad.
The souls might be able to help me on my mission to save the princess. It's imperative that I do everything I can.
No. And yet getting yourself killed will hardly help the princess. Legend has it that it is the right of any human to challenge the Lord of the Dead in order to save his own life or the life of another already past. But I have only heard of one who tried it, a young knight who came to the land of the Green Isles from a distant land long ago. According to it is said that he tamed the Lord of the Dead's horse, a black-winged, demon-hearted beast named Nightmare. Nightmare sometimes flies to the human world to feed on certain noxious plants. Somehow, the knight captured Nightmare and rode off on her back, supposedly to the realm of the dead. But neither the knight nor his lover ever...
I see. Can you tell me anything?
That is a blacker matter still. To the druids, he is Samhain, Lord of Cold. It is said that he hates...
Interesting.
Now, may your luck...
May it indeed.
Alexander scoops up some of the red-hot embers and Alexander cracks the spoiled egg and dumps it in. The spoiled egg hisses as it makes contact with the hot embers. Alexander puts the strand of hair into the skull containing the embers and the spoiled egg. Alexander feels a strain. Alexander arrives at the top of the cliffs, somewhat... Alexander solemnly speaks the
creature of night, to me succumb. Fire and brimstone leave thee numb. Purity bind thee like a chain, to do whate'er I now ordain.
Nightmare flares her nostrils at the scent of the fire.
That's it! Come on! I need passage to your home.
Unable to resist the power of the enchanted smell, Nightmare approaches Alexander.
Now ride!
Nightmare deposits Alexander on a strange, cold world. And some of the inhabitants don't look too friendly. Uh-oh. One of the touch of the... Alexander... This is the last... Alexander solemnly speaks.
Creature of night, to me succumb. Fire and brimstone leave thee numb. Purity bind thee like a chain, to do whate'er I now ordain.
Nightmare flares.
That's it.
Unable to resist the power of the enchanted smell.
Now ride!
Nightmare and some of the...
Who are you, grieving spirits?
I am Queen Ilaria of the land of the Green Isles, and this beloved spirit is my husband. We were murdered in our beds by our trusted Wizier. Like a viper, he snuck in during the night and stabbed us in our sleep. Now my husband's soul is broken, and he will not speak.
Then you are the ones I seek. Are you not the parents of Princess Cassima?
Our daughter! Have you known?
I know that she is alive and safely back in her kingdom after being rescued from Mordak. But I'm afraid I have not personally seen her. Alhazred...
I am glad to hear of her return, but she will not be safe alone with that devil.
Cassima, how I failed thee.
My poor husband will never rest while our murder goes unavenged. My daughter is in danger.
I came to take you back with me. Your people are still loyal to you. They need to know about the...
But this is the realm of the dead. We cannot leave it. Nor for that, the only one who might be able to return us all to the land of the living is the Lord of the Dead. But he would never help us. He has no mercy.
I might be able to convince him. I must try.
Then take this. I cannot...
Thank you.
Be careful, young man. If you can ease my husband's torment and help our daughter, we will...
I will do my best. Why do you not rest, sad spirit?
Rest? I cannot rest. My son is lost.
Lost? You mean in this realm?
No.
Is there anything...
Take this handkerchief. If you get back to the land by this kiss, you'll...
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
The skeleton to the left of the path hands something to the spirits that approach the underworld.
Take it, please. Next.
Alexander picks up the two bones.
Ah, yes.
The skeletons are overcome with the musical call of the bones. They Alexander picks up. Alexander is carrying a message from... The ghostly ticket reads, Alexander.
I have a ticket.
Oh, on. Next.
The organic... Apparently, Alexander's not the only one who's curious. Alexander takes the knight's black gauntlet, and flesh may cross the portal and seek its master, Death. Flesh may go where death is trod, and challenge, like Scheherazade, he who reigns beneath the sod to spare a mortal's breath. That sounds serious. Alexander scoops a little of the river Styx into the teacup with the swamp ooze, being careful not to get any of the black...
Will these coins do as fare?
Charon accepts the fare and waves Alexander on. Alexander reaches out to open. Suddenly, the wood trembled.
What touch has awakened my... I smell the blood of a mortal. Reach out thine hand again, fleshy human, that I might...
Despite his fear, Alexander...
I would pass, Gate. I have business with...
My master and thine, human. I would be pleased to introduce thee.
No, thank you. I come to meet the Lord of the Dead.
And why should I let you pass, human, when I would...
I have been told that there is a way for humans to enter Death's realm. There must be something I can do.
I seem to recall something. A trick. Perhaps, And if thou wouldst fail to answer, Gate...
Agreed.
Listen as though it meant thy life then. My first is foremost legally. My second circles outwardly. My third leads all in victory. My fourth twice ends a nominee. My whole is this gate's only key.
The answer.
Ah, thou traitor of the mortal plane! How didst thou guess love? That riddle should never...
Love cannot be banished, even from this place. There are spirits still pining a bit on the...
Enough! Burden me not with thy poetry. Pass through, and quickly, but...
Alexander can't talk to the Lord. Alexander can't. Alexander approaches the...
Why have you entered my domain, still wearing your flesh? If you are so anxious for death, you might have found it easily enough in the land of the living. But since you are here, you are most welcome to stay. Kiss my hand, and you will be one with the spirits. There will be no pain.
I seek a boon, my lord.
Why should death grant you anything, mortal?
I seek a...
Why should death...
I did not come here to die, but to demand my right of challenge. I respectfully challenge thee, death, by throwing down this gauntlet. Man may pass the portal and seek its master, death. Man may pass where death...
He has the gauntlet!
Impossible! He challenges... Who are you?
A man of flesh is all I need to...
And what is it that you seek with this challenge?
I seek the souls of King Caliphim and Queen Ilaria, the land of the Green Isle.
You would save 2 human souls and emerge alive from this realm yourself? That shall be a
Either all 3 of us leave.
Very well. Then let... yes. I have it now. Your challenge is this. For thousands of years, I have sat upon this throne. I have heard every sad tale that can be told by human lips. I have seen tragedies that ended in this thing I have...
Make death?
Sooner could he turn or fire.
If your existence has been all that you say it has, then
The mirror's surface swirls with darkness for a moment. Then, reflections of despair, of wailing souls, of shackles colder and more immutable than... Alexander feels the mirror tremble in his grasp, and is glad that he cannot see its face. But the Lord of the Dead is transfixed. Things long forgotten are once more uncovered. His enslavement to this throne while still a man, the years of watching misery and horror and growing ever more numb to it, the seep of his own humanity, the slow growth of a new thing altogether, which his is an existence that has no possibility of redemption. The surrounding spirits draw away in pain. The truth is so sharp it stabs, so in...
Make it stop!
The mirror of truth cracks from the strain, and death sheds a single gray tear.
Truth is indeed... I have worn this mantle for so long, I had forgotten its dreadful weight. You shall take the souls and leave as I agreed. Find the souls he has claimed and bring them. King Caliphim and Queen Alaria, I presume. Your hero has won you a few more years of mortality.
Thank you, my lord.
And you, man of flesh, my steed shall take the three of you back to the... Until we meet again, then. I assure you, we will meet again.
No offense, my lord, but I hope that will be many long years from now.
It is never as long...
Yes, my lord. Are you coming, Majesty?
Alhazred's treachery must be handled carefully, Alexander. Alaria and I must go gather our allies and form a plan. Watch over Cassima. Make sure she comes to no harm. We will return as soon as we can to take back all that has been stolen from us.
I will keep her safe until your return.
Thank you, son. Your love for our daughter must be deep indeed for you to have...
Indeed. May we succeed in what awaits.
Alex. There's no reason to... There's no...
Good day, peddler.
Good day.
Isn't it a rather...
There's no reason to...
Excuse me, peddler, but
A fine choice. Good day.
Good day.
Drat. Another dud.
Alexander dips the large black feather into the... and stirs the contents gently. To his amazement, the jet black color of the feather slowly drops. The teacup mixture blackens and thickens. Feeling artistically inspired. Ah, a doorway. Just what Alexander was thinking this was. With trepidation, magic paint. The spell worked. Eager to be inside the castle at last, Alexander opens and steps. The magic pink door fades back into the wall. Alexander.
Prince Alexander, I can't believe it. How did you get into the castle?
Well, I
bet. You run the terrible risk of being here, though.
I know that, Giallo. But Cosima is being married to...
Of course you're right. Yeah.
I've got to try to see her.
Is that all? And here I thought...
Don't worry about me, friend.
As far as I know, she's still in her bedroom upstairs. You'd never make it up there, though. If we had proof of something truly afoul, the guard dogs might listen. As it is...
I understand. Thanks. I've been thinking of what you said about...
Why, yes! It's an exact replica. That...
I suppose...
I'll have to wait for the right moment, mind you. But I should be able to get close now.
I'm sure... I have...
Closed door on the north wall bear the plaque reads Alexander opens the dungeon door.
Mother?
What's the matter?
I'm lost. I don't know why she would just leave me.
You must be the son of the spirit I met in the realm of the dead. She gave me this handkerchief.
It's Mama's. It even smells like her. I can...
Wait. Before you go,
I like to play in secret places. In the basement behind the Man of Steel is a door. Nobody except me knows... Farewell.
From the East Hall, Alexander hears the sounds of a door opening and a guard. Alexander will need to enter the north hallway if he wants to do... Alexander examines the suit of armor, but sees nothing special. Alexander, remembering what the little boy ghost said, a secret passage. Alexander hears the sound of... Alexander peers through the chink in the wall.
Captain, I've been hearing rumors from the guards who've been watching the princess. They say lately she's been pounding on her door and begging to be let out. Ain't none of my business, sir, but news like that is upsetting the other dogs. Ain't no guard in the castle who would willingly keep the princess anywhere she don't want to be.
Alhazred claims that a foreign intruder is here to assassinate her. That's why she's got to be kept under lock and key, right up until the wedding.
Call me an old dog that can't learn new tricks, but I say the princess should be the one given the orders.
Alhazred has been in charge for months, what with the king's death and Casima's mourning. Tonight, the wedding will seal it, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like him or not, he's our liege. Need I remind you of your oath to the crown?
Aye, we've an oath. For the sake of the princess, we'll not be forgetting it. He'd just better treat her well.
Speaking of the Wazir, what do you reckon he's keeping in that magical room?
It's not a magic room. It's just the door he's enchanted somehow. I say he's still got the royal treasury in there, along with whatever else he's so eager to protect. Not even the court treasurer is allowed in there anymore.
I heard him in the hall the other day. He was speaking of that door. Black magic is what I say. I heard him say Ali, but then Bay came up and started yapping at me.
Enough! It is not our place to question the practices of our liege, no matter how strange. The wedding will be starting soon. Report to the throne room when you hear the music start.
Phew, that was a climb. Alexander hears the faint sound of a woman. Alexander peers through the chinks in the wall, trying to locate the source of the crying sounds. Alexander's palms begin to sweat.
Psst. What? It is I,
My house.
Alexander? It really is you. Oh, I knew you were close by, but how did you get inside the castle?
It's a long story and not important now.
Oh, yes. It has brought me such comfort, Alexander, to know you were close by and had not forgotten. But you shouldn't be here. You're only endangering yourself.
I don't care about the danger.
What is it?
Alhazred.
Oh, please believe me when I say that I never agreed to marry that man. Even when my father trusted Abdul absolutely. I never liked him. But with mother and father gone...
If you do not wish to marry him, Casima, you shall not.
How? I cannot fit through this wall. Besides, do you think I could leave my kingdom? But Abdul would tear the castle apart if I were to disappear from my room. You shall have to do what you can to
I can't just leave you here.
Alexander, do not despair for me. I have been safe in this room for nearly 6 months now. Abdul can be in no hurry, whatever he plans. After all, I have been planning too, you see. I believe I can escape if I can only get a chance to lay my hands on a weapon.
But
Shh, just a moment more. Then you must go. Let us not waste time with words. Please.
Here, take this dagger. It's not much, but it might come in handy.
Why, it's perfect. This is just the sort of thing I've been looking for.
Alexander?
Oh, no!
The lock on Casima's...
Alexander, hurry! Step...
Alexander hears scuffling and a woman's brief cry. Alexander looks through the...
Dear Shadrach, salutations from the Society of the Black Cloak, etc., etc. My long preparations are about to come to fruition. In a matter of minutes, I will wed the lovely... Once I've established my power and my crown, I can stage another accident.
Selvä.
The princess has proven infuriatingly stubborn as you... In a way, it is a shame I have to kill her. Well, on to it now. I think it's about time.
The Wazir's words fill Alexander with blazing anger.
That blackguard! That murderous swine! He'll not have his way if I have anything to say about it.
Joo, lopetellaan taas tähän näin.
Taking off your adventurer's cap so soon?
En mä usko.